Today's presenter is Shannon Schlottman, Solution Specialist here at VitalWare. Shannon, the show is yours. You now have the floor.
Thanks so much, Julie. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me again today for the Innovation Series. I think this is our 4th webinar. And today, like Julie mentioned, we're going to go ahead and talk about the physician analysis, but not only the analysis within the CDM tool, we're also going to start by highlighting all of the physician information that's included within the VitalKnowledge application and, of course, utilized within that analysis. VitalKnowledge is really our coding and regulatory tool. There's 115 or so comprehensive data sets within this section of our tool that you can query through, and many of them have components both for physician-based billing as well as hospital-based billing. So we'll be touching on all of the physician side today. Of course, we also have My Advisor, where we can answer professional-based coding questions. Medical necessity is available both on the hospital side as well as the physician component, and we'll kind of highlight some other areas as well. The first thing that I wanted to show you, and that I don't think we've actually talked about in any of the innovation series, but within our main dashboard, which is where the system is going to take you every time you log in, this is kind of the landing page, I wanted to make sure that you were aware that down at the bottom we have a data dashboard. The data dashboard will actually show you the version of content that we have within our VitalKnowledge tool. You can see that I've circled or looped the professional content down there in the lower left-hand corner. And what we're displaying here is actually the dates that we've pulled information into our application, when that information was effective, when it's scheduled to update again. We really wanted to be very transparent in regard to the data that you have access to within our site. So this is an important piece of the tool to be able to see exactly what data you are able to access within the VitalKnowledge application, and also that's utilized within the analysis, specifically today, the physician analysis. So again, that's on the landing page there, and you can click into that professional content and see those dates. Now, within the code lookup section of the application, there are many different ways that you can query through this database. Of course, you could query based off of an effective date if you're looking for all of the new codes. You can query by a keyword that'll step you through the description. It'll pull forward all of the codes with the that contain the keyword within the description that you utilized. But I think a fairly underutilized piece of searching capability is, again, in that bottom left-hand corner over there, and it's the field search. On the right-hand side of the screen in kind of the black box there, I've highlighted a lot of the fields of data that you have the ability to utilize as filters. And you'll notice that a lot of the information that's available in here is directly from the Medicare physician fee schedule. So if you're needing to find a listing of all of those codes that have the TC26 split, you can utilize that filter. If you're looking for everything where a co-surgeon is applicable or the bilateral surgery indicator, you can actually go ahead and filter the CPT and HCPCS database utilizing any of those components from the MPFS. Status code might be something that you want to utilize as well. And in fact, that's what I did in the search that you're looking at right here. I went ahead and just asked the system to pull me forward everything that is a status code of A within the system for today. So makes it very easy for you to be able to find groupings of codes that you might be looking for within the system. Once you've found a code that you're looking for those of you who aren't very familiar with the application, just a quick click of the code will actually slide open a bottom panel down at the bottom there. And this is where we provide you with all of the little pieces of information that you might be looking for in regard to that code. One of the recent additions to our site, I guess really it's not very recent anymore, it's been about a year, but we've actually allowed your end users that have access to VitalKnowledge to be able to have a glimpse into your CDM file. This could be your LSS file, your GE centricity file. If you're uploading your professional component, we have the ability to tie these CPT codes to your chargemaster file so that folks can see if that code exists within the file already. If you have departments within your file, it would show you department information. And then, of course, it pulls the description as well. So you do have the ability right from the VitalKnowledge perspective to take a look at your physician-based files within our system as well. We'll just kind of go ahead and step through some of the physician-based information that we have here within the system in regard to codes. Of course, with modifiers, right in that middle section there, we provide you with a yes or an NA value here, and this is showing you all of the modifiers that would be appropriate to bill on a HCFA or for professional billing. Now, also within this view, the eligible flag in the column there on the left-hand side will tell your end users whether that particular modifier will absolve a CCI edit or not. So again, something where we're showing you the professional component here in regard to modifiers. We also include all of the guidelines from the CPT book. So if your office is purchasing those CPT books, we give you all of that information right at your fingertips here so that you're able to come to one spot to find the information that you might need to reference. This is the chapter and the section information in regard to this 99213 that we're looking at. So again, just trying to make it so you're not having to go flip through a book to find the information that you might be looking for. We put a ton of regulatory information at your fingertips, not just the guidelines, but we'll also associate any one-time notifications or change proposals or MedLearn Matters articles. Or if you're needing to tap into the CPT assistant and the coding clinics, those are available within our application as well, and all of the physician content would be at your fingertips here too. Medically unlikely edits is something else that we also provide to you on the physician side. You can see I've circled the professional component down there. This is something that oftentimes differs between the medically unlikely edits for the hospital versus the pro, and this is an example where those differ. So within this view, we're providing you with the number of times you can perform this on a patient in a given day. We're giving you the adjudication indicator, as well as the rationale here within this view. Any local coverage determinations, articles, or national coverage determinations that have a physician component can be found within our system as well. So here we're looking at those Part B rules. You can see within the system that I've gone ahead and changed that middle selection there to the physician component. This will tap into all of those Part B rules if you make that selection. In some cases, we do have the ability to go ahead and set up your user to default to the professional side. So if you're somebody that needs to look at that Part B information all the time, we can certainly go ahead and accommodate that for you so that you would see these defaults to the physician side. This will actually give you access to that medical necessity policy. You can open that, read the article in its entirety. You can extract that out of our system if it's something that you're needing to use for maybe physician education or that type of thing. So very useful information here within the tool as well. We do have all of the CCI edits available on the physician side also. They reside in their own little tab here, so you would need to click on that tab to access the physician component. You can see the column 1 and column 2 view are both listed here, so you have that complete rule at your fingertips. Either of these can be exposed within the application, and we also allow you to extract this data. So again, if it's something that you need to share, you can use the print code details to pull that information out of the system, attach that to an email and send to somebody, or maybe it's something you need to just have tacked up in your QB. You can certainly go ahead and pull that information out of our application. We do provide Medicare Crosswalk tabs within our VitalKnowledge application as well. And you can see in this particular instance, that middle column where it says pro application is highlighted. With the Medicare Crosswalk, if there is a need on the professional side to use a differing code, we'll go ahead and crosswalk you from the CPT to either the HCPC, or in this case, it happens to be another CPT on the pro side here. You can see the guidelines in the right column there, pointing you to the guideline or the rule that we have used to put together this crosswalk. Now, for those of you who are doing hospital-based physician billing, you may need to tap into the revenue codes as well. I wanted to reassure you that we have all of the clinic as well as the professional revenue codes within our data set utilizing this GO402 code. As I open that, you can see the upper section is best practice, or what we consider to be the best practice revenue codes to utilize with this HCPC code. Down in the bottom section there where it says revenue code Medicare outpatient, this is actually data from the standard analytical file from Medicare, so the paid outpatient claims. And this is actually showing you how often a particular revenue code was paired with the HCPC that we're looking at. So nearly 56% of the time on a Medicare claim when this G0402 was billed, it was paired with the 510 revenue code. So just kind of showing you what other folks are utilizing in their billing, and most importantly, what they're getting paid for. So again, this would be applicable to you if you're doing hospital-based physician billing. Now, of course, in regard to reimbursement, we're going to go ahead and show you the Medicare physician fee schedule here. The Medicare physician fee schedule within our application is GPCI adjusted, so you are assured to have your appropriate reimbursement for your clinic available here for you. There are all kinds of pieces of information included in the MPFS, as you saw in that filter that we looked at first. But you can see all of the RVU, the practice expense, the malpractice, the work RVU, the total facility and total non-facility RVU, the reimbursement as to whether you are doing facility billing or whether this is being billed from an office perspective. The global surgery days is a piece of information that we have here if that's something that you need to be concerned with. And then, of course, all of those indicators that we talked about before, the co-surgeon indicator and those types of things as well. Interestingly enough, too, if you are somebody who's just kind of getting familiar with all of the indicators within the MPFS, there's an additional field of data that you can turn on in this view in the bottom panel here, and I apologize, I probably should have shown that, but it'll actually tell you what all of the components mean and how they correlate to the information that you're seeing there. So that's a helpful guide if you are trying to get to know the information from the MPFS. We do also include benchmarking from the professional perspective within our application. So here I've pulled forward a listing of some CT codes for us to look at. Within the professional benchmarking information, we've opted to show the national percentiles in regard to what folks are charging for those individual procedure codes that we're looking at here. So we have those percentiles, as you can see, available within the 10th percent, 25th, 50th, 75th, 90th, and then I went ahead and put the reimbursement information in this view as well, so you can see, you can get a very well-rounded report out of the system in regard to those percentiles. If you needed to get a little bit more specific, if you were maybe looking for reimbursement as it, or not reimbursement, rather charge information from like an independent diagnostic testing facility, the search option that I have over on the left-hand side displaying here will allow you to pare down to a specific specialty. So any of the claims that were submitted under that specialty category, the charge information will then display in your screen here. So it would get you a little bit closer to the type of charge information that you're looking for. Now, you know, the information that we have displayed in VitalKnowledge is both for hospital users as well as for physician-based users. And we recognized early on that we would need to give you the ability to go ahead and customize your screens so that you can find information that you use most frequently easily and to kind of help you bolster your productivity. So I went ahead and pulled up the window here that would allow you to customize all of the information in that bottom panel of data. You have the ability to go ahead and take each of those components and drag and drop them in the order that you want to see them. So if you're somebody that works with physician information and you would like to have the CCI edits as an example, or the Pro MPFS right up there at the front, you can see I went ahead and reordered information. If I wanted to get the hospital-based information out of my way, you can see the hidden option there. That allows you to go ahead and click that box, and that piece of information will disappear from your view, kind of getting rid of the noise, if you will. So that's a super handy feature that you all could utilize as well if you're not already doing that today, and allowing you to get to that information a little bit more quickly and have kind of a view that really fits your needs more so than anything. So makes it very nice. Additionally, we allow you to customize the information in your upper grid as well. So if you're looking for specific pieces of content, say from the MPFS, or maybe you're needing to look at the status code rather than the status indicator, you can also alter the information that you see in this upper grid and set up your own views within the application. So I wanted to make sure that you knew you had the ability to do that, because not only does it give you the ability to see this information right off the cuff, but it also allows you to export this information out of the system into a spreadsheet. So if you're pulling information from the MPFS, it sure is handy to be able to do that. And in this example, you can see that I've rearranged the information to show the RVU info, to show the status code, and I've looped that export button as well, just to kind of highlight that if you were to use that, that would pull all of this information out of the system. You can set up multiple views. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see the little views option there. That would give you a drop-down of all of the views that you have set up within the system. So if you're working on varying projects and need to have differing pieces of information available for those varying projects, you can set those up and access those through your views option very easily as well. Within the diagnosis code database that we have available within our application, I wanted to make sure you all knew that all of the HCC information is available for you as well. So if that's something that you're beginning to capture at the physician office that you work at or the clinic that you work at, all of the category information is available within the diagnosis code set when you query for a particular diagnosis or group of diagnosis codes as well. Now, moving into Code Validate, which is another section of our VitalKnowledge tool, we also give you access to the Part B, or the physician component of those differing rule sets. Code Validate allows your end users to come into the system and enter in combinations of CPT and HCPCS codes to look for bundling information, or they can enter combinations of CPT and HCPCS codes and diagnosis codes to look for medical necessity. And again, we're looking at the Part B rules when we have that physician component selected up in the upper left-hand corner up there. We use a very simplistic icon system here to tell your users, in this particular case, whether they have a bundling issue and need to add a modifier, or whether those particular codes cannot be billed together at all. So very handy piece of the tool for folks who are maybe working denials, or billers that are trying to get claims out the door and need to see that information. I know it only looks like you can put about 6 codes into the CPT code section there. You can actually add up to 30 CPT or HCPCS codes and 30 diagnosis codes at a time to do that check. So I hope you don't ever have to do that, but you can within the system if you need to. And this is the screen that displays our medical necessity information. Again, this time it's looking at those Part B rules. So it's playing off of all of those Part B policies and providing you the information about whether your diagnosis code meets medical necessity or not on the Part B side. You'll also see that we have some frequency exceptions, so telling you how often you can perform a particular procedure or how often you can bill for that particular procedure and get paid under the Medicare realm. We also have age and gender rules there that will fall into the exceptions if any of those codes meet those criteria within the local or national coverage determinations. Now, My Advisor, like I mentioned before, My Advisor is a section of the application where you will be able to come in and ask difficult billing or coding questions to our coding and content team. They'll go out there, do the research, and post a response back on the site in regard to that difficult billing or coding question. We do answer questions in regard to professional billing. You can see here I was able to go ahead and filter down to the questions that have been asked in regard to those coding scenarios. You can do that as well when you come into My Advisor. Once you have filtered down to the professional information, you can still go ahead and query by keyword or by code to find all of the questions and responses that already live on the site. And if you have permissions, you would be able to go ahead and ask a question as well. The library, of course, includes all of the Part B information that you might need to get to, from the benefit policy manual to the claims processing manual, all of the one-time notifications and change proposals, and any of that regulatory information is housed within the library. You saw how you can get to that from the code lookup perspective, but it is also available within the library. If you need to export any of this information, you can certainly do that from here as well. And finally, in regard to Vital Alerts, if you're not aware, Vital Alerts are an email notification in regard to any relevant coding, reimbursement, or regulatory change from Medicare. And we actually push these emails out in regard to the Part B side as well. So you do have the ability within the system to select that physician billing or the physician-based VitalAlert Departments. You can associate that with your end user, and the information that we send out to you will be in regard to that physician billing or the Part B side. You can see this is a screenshot of that repository. I've actually filtered down to just those that were pushed out in regard to professional billing. And then again, in the black box here, this is an example of one of the alerts that we would have pushed out in regard to that professional side information. So they're structured the same, with a summary that tells you about the change. And then below, there's a more detailed discussion that will highlight any of the codes that were changed or anything like that. And then if you pulled your physician-based CDM file into our system, we can actually send you a second alert that highlights all of the charge codes you have in your file that were affected by that particular change based off of the CPT codes that are in this alert. So very helpful way to stay on top of all of the changes that are happening daily from Medicare and keep you on top of the changes that might need to be made within your charge file. Okay, so a ton of information within the VitalKnowledge application, and let's talk about how we use this within our CDM analysis. We can actually pull your file into our application from your physician-based system that you're using, be it LSS or GE or any of the other physician-based DMRs. We can pull that information into our application, and then we can go ahead and kick off an analysis that uses all of that Part B information that we just looked at, and will provide you with any exception reports within our application, so you can see anything that maybe falls out of what we would consider to be the norm for your CDM file. Now, this is an example of our analysis summary, and I always think the analysis summary is a great place to come to kind of look at the overall health of the file that we've analyzed, so you can see exactly what you have going on. You can see with the 3 columns of numbers that we have on the right-hand side here, this is actually taking a look at the last 3 analyses that you've run within our application and showing you how your numbers are trending. Making sure that your reports are being worked and that things are being taken care of in the way that you want them to be. So great way to see how you're trending. This report can actually be exported into Excel so that you can keep that information for posterity's sake and be able to look back and see what your numbers were over that entire time frame. Within this analysis, though, you can see that we break the CDM reports out into some subsections. We have coding exceptions, compliance exceptions, charge analysis, revenue opportunities, and then we do have some other analyses as well. So within the coding exception, we allow you to take a look at any of your codes that are invalid or that are deleted with a single replacement or that are deleted with multiple replacement suggestions, or even those codes that have been deleted where there has not been a suggested replacement. Compliance, we can take a look at, if you're using a hospital-based file, we can take a look at your revenue codes to ensure that they are valid, and same with your modifiers. With the charge analysis, we can look at your charge as compared to the facility-based reimbursement from the MPFS or the office-based reimbursement from the MPFS. Both of those are available within this report package. In regard to revenue opportunities, we can take a peek at any of the codes that you have in your system that have a primary and add-on relationship. If you have add-on codes in your file that don't have a primary, that could be an issue. We'll flag those for you. We will also show you where you don't have add-on codes within your file as well. We also have a report that'll show you quarter over quarter whether the codes in your file are changing status code. So if they're moving from a payable status to a non-payable status, or vice versa, you'll be able to ferret those out within our system as well. This report will also show you anything that's going to have a payment change quarter over quarter. In other analysis, we can go ahead and pull together things based off of the differing status codes available with the MPFS. So if you needed to take a look at anything that was excluded from the MPFS reimbursement, you can find those, or anything that's not recognized by Medicare under the MPFS, you can find those as well. So this is a great place to start. You'll notice that a lot of those numbers are highlighted in blue. Within our system, you can actually just go ahead and click on any of those, and the system will take you directly into that report within the CDM file, so you can expose those individual exceptions. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at those differing reports so you can get an idea of what those look like. This is an example of our invalid report for CPT or HCPCS codes. You can see within the system here we have some varying information. It looks like maybe we've got some numbers that may be statistical. We've got some V codes. Maybe that would be the charge codes that you would use for Medicaid or for your workman's comp. Within VitalWare's realm, invalid means that those codes never existed in Medicare. So we'll expose any of those types of issues for you. You can find transposition errors here as well and those types of things. Anything invalid within our system is always going to be highlighted in red as well. That's kind of an indicator that we couldn't crosswalk that back to data within our databases in VitalKnowledge. So great way to expose these if you're billing with these to Medicare or to some of the insurance companies as well. You're going to receive denials, of course. Now moving into the deleted CPT and HCPCS, the system's going to go ahead and look through your CPT or HCPCS column, and it's going to pull forward anything that is deleted. This is a simple list of those charge codes within my Cascade Physician Group chargemaster that are associated with deleted codes. A quick click of that procedure master number would actually pull forward a listing of those suggested codes as well, enabling you to see all of those suggested codes, the suggested replacement codes rather. Now, the fee schedule comparison really allows you to go ahead and look at your charges and compare those to the Medicare physician fee schedule reimbursement components. This is looking at the facility reimbursement. So the highlighted pink where it says Second Street Clinic, that is the price column that I utilize. And I point that out because for any of you that are working with maybe a multi-clinic system that's run off of the same system, but you have varying prices, I wanted to ensure that you knew that we can pull all of that information into your view so you can see the varying charge amounts for each of those clinics within your system if they differ. We can actually set up analyses to compare each of those charges to the MPFS rates. But I just wanted to make sure you knew that you were aware you could do that. Now, in this case, I'm using that Second Street Clinic charge to compare to the facility component here of the MPFS. So in the first example there, I have a $0 charge in that removal of a rib code, and the reimbursement rate is $632.99. That if you are charging less than the Medicare reimbursement amount under the MPFS, Medicare is going to pay you whichever is less. So these reports become very important because you could actually be leaving money on the table here with the way that you're charging. So you'll want to be sure to take a look at any of those charge lines where you're charging below the reimbursement rate of the MPFS. We also offer this information as compared to the office fee schedule reimbursement. So exactly, the report is structured in exactly the same way, and we'll provide you with that information, but this time it's taking into consideration all of the overhead that you have for running the clinic. So it's comparing you to that office reimbursement rate. Of course, that missing primary or add-on. Again, one of the things that I love about our chargemaster tool is when you click on that CPT or HCPCS code, all of the information that we just talked about over in VitalKnowledge is right at your fingertips. So being able to access the add-on codes that go along with the primary code that you're looking at or vice versa makes it very easy for you to see what's going on in your file, what potentially needs to be added, and those types of things. So very quick and easy access to all of those components of information that you need. This is that report that shows you any of those items that are moving from a payable to a non-payable status, or that are actually having a reimbursement change quarter over quarter, and especially at the end of the year. That's when the majority of this happens. But you can see there we have the previous payment amount, the current payment amount. We're giving you the variance of those, and then of course the status indicator, the current and the previous status indicator there as well. Lots of information on this report, super helpful. Like I mentioned, it again at the end of the year especially. And then we move over into those reports that can actually group your charge lines together based off of the status code information. So again, this is an example of all of the charge lines in my file that are associated with codes that are excluded from MPFS payment or not recognized by Medicare in this example. Not covered by Medicare. So again, these are great to review. Those reports are great to review occasionally, just to make sure you don't need to do anything else with those charge lines. Make sure you're aware of all of those kind of stipulations from the MPFS. And then finally, the local coverage and national coverage determination report. If you are looking for an easy way to find all of the procedures that you're performing that have a medical necessity policy around them, whether you are trying to populate an ABN tool or whether you are trying to make your schedulers aware this is a very easy way to do that. The system will actually take a look through all of your charge lines based off of the CPT or HCPCS code. They'll reference the Part B side of all of those medical necessity policies and expose any of those procedures where you might run into trouble with medical necessity and diagnosis code, the diagnosis code linkage with that particular procedure. Remember that we also have our VitalWorkflow component. I think we talked about that 2 Innovation Series webinars ago. Our workflow component is bar none. This will give you the ability to capture any additions, changes, deactivations, or reactivations to your physician file. It allows your end users to go ahead and initiate those types of requests through the application. It allows folks within the system the ability to either add information to those charge lines or give their electronic approval of those charge lines being added or changed. It captures all of that, provides an audit history for you. It really is a fantastic component and can be utilized within the physician realm as well with your physician files. So keep in mind that is available as well within the application. Julie, I think that was everything that I was going to talk about this morning. I know we're I think we're a little bit over our time, and I apologize for that, but we can go ahead and field questions or whatever you'd like to do at this point, Julie.
Well, that was great, Shannon. Thank you so much for that information. And you are right, we are a little bit over our time. So for the sake of others' times, we will make sure that we take everyone's questions and answers, or questions that were submitted throughout today's web session, document them, and get back to the entire attendee list with the questions and the answers for today's web session. So within the next 2 to 3 days, you should be receiving an email with all the questions that were submitted and the answers to each of them. So thank you again, Shannon. That was wonderful. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the session as much as we did. And if you'd like more information on what you saw today, please reach out to either your account manager if you're a current VitalWare client, or go on our website and complete a demo request form. To stay up to date with VitalWare's future webinars, we invite you to follow us on LinkedIn, and again, on our newest deployed website under resources and webinars. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.